Oh yeah.
Microsoft has some things shaken up, and it looks like they've got some things going in some positive directions for a change. This is something that I feel like is probably a smart move. Look, when you're Xbox and you are banking on having, content for your service, it has to come at a steady rate, and I feel like, they're not really doing a good job with that steady rate. Especially lately. Like, I know people are like, oh, they have a lot of games announced, and I agree with that, but this is good news for a change. I want to get into it. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I certainly appreciate it. You guys have been amazing. Please like the video, slap that like button, and consider subscribing because that helps the channel out a good amount, believe it or not. So anyway, Microsoft recently, obviously they talk a good game. I've been a fan of Xbox since day one. Clearly there are some issues with them getting some games out the way that they need to, in my opinion anyway. It's just something that they have really struggled with over the years, and it's unfortunate because I'm a fan of what they have to offer, and it's like they don't really do things, in my opinion anyway, that they don't really do things that sort of and stick with it, right? They change what they're trying to do too quickly. They don't stick with something quick enough. That's sort of the big major problem that I think Microsoft has to deal with, and that is that they do that. They're just like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna do this, and then they stick with that for like 18 months, and then they switch courses yet again. It's really an unfortunate situation, but this I thought was a smart move. So according to this, Microsoft forms a new team within Blizzard to develop AA games based on existing IP. A team comprised formerly of former King employees will work on smaller titles based on popular Blizzard properties, according to this. Now, this is just a rumor at this time, so kind of keep that in your mind's eye. Blizzard Entertainment, like the rest of Microsoft, has a wealth of beloved IPs with a history of critical and commercial success that have been dormant for far too long. But it seems the company is making moves to remedy that situation. As reported by Windows Central, Microsoft and Blizzard Entertainment have formed a new development team within Blizzard to focus on developing small titles, AA titles based on existing IP. So should be interesting to see how that kind of works out. Over the past few weeks, many King employees had switched their LinkedIn profiles from King to Blizzard, and they're revealing that Microsoft and Activision had formed a new smaller team within Blizzard and King and various other employees to work on AA games based on existing Blizzard franchises like Overwatch, Warcraft, Starcraft, and beyond. Microsoft is keen to leverage its huge back catalog of franchises that it acquired with Activision Blizzard's purchase over the years. Now, over the past few weeks, various employees from Microsoft's King subsidiary have updated their LinkedIn profiles to reflect their new career direction. Last year, of course, Microsoft completed its acquisition of Activision Blizzard for over $72 billion. The purchase gave it control over mega franchises like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, and King Mobile. Games like Candy Crush Saga were still already kind of to see the impact on Microsoft's bottom line. Microsoft reporting a 61% growth year over year in its gaming division, driven largely by Activision Blizzard operations across gaming consoles, PC, and mobile. But Microsoft doesn't done. According to this anyway, the sources indicate that Microsoft and Activision have approved the creation of a new team within the Blizzard subsidiary, comprised mostly with employees from King. Blizzard is known for beloved franchises like Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch, and Microsoft is keen to curate and serve these franchises more prolifically than Activision itself did previously. Military sci-fi strategy series Starcraft, for example, has essentially been on mothballs since Starcraft Remastered in 2017. And Xbox CEO Phil Spencer himself has name-checked StarCraft during interviews about the acquisition in recent years. Still, you need teams to work on these classic franchises, and that's exactly what Microsoft is gearing up to do. Which, again, think of it in a good way. They did promise to get a lot of these smaller titles out there, and, a lot of these titles that, we hadn't seen before or hadn't seen in a long time. So I think that could be a good thing. I personally don't care about like the Blizzard games, for instance, but I would love to see like new Tony Hawk. I would love to see new Guitar Hero. I'd love to see, you know, stuff like that. Bring back those Transformers games or whatever the case may be. They have some interesting IP for sure. So to me, that would make a lot of sense to go out there and kind of do that. And, you know, I would love to see them go out there and kind of make something from nothing, because, you know, we've been kind of all waiting for Microsoft to make some moves here, and now they're finally starting to do that, and I think that it's like really kind of starting to pay off for them. So hopefully that'll continue to be the case going forward for Microsoft. Like I said, this is a very smart move on their part. To that end, Windows Central was told Microsoft and Activision's new team is tasked to work on AA, smaller games based on existing franchises within the Blizzard universe. Given King's mobile expertise, it's possible that these will be mobile games aimed to support Xbox's planned mobile gaming store for iOS and Android, although they're not entirely sure that that'll be restricted to specifically mobile, given Microsoft's platform agnostic strategy across mobile, PC, and console. It's entirely possible that any fresh projects could run across multiple platforms. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella recently described how it wants Xbox to focus on a three-pronged gaming approach across those endpoints, the Xbox console at its core. So yeah, sources tell them that Microsoft is keen to explore and experiment, finding success out of smaller teams that are also integrated with larger organization, almost Nintendo style, for seamless collaboration. Microsoft and other big publishers are increasingly concerned about the monstrosity kind of ballooning budgets for AAA games development, and having studios cross-collaborate more closely is one way that Microsoft is exploring reducing those costs. A lot of the biggest success stories in the industry in recent times have been unique ideas from smaller teams. Think of games like Pal World, Vampire Survivors, Among Us, and even some of Microsoft's internal games like Sea of Thieves and Grounded. Many of these titles were built by comparatively small teams, and in some cases solo developers, yet many of these titles became wildly popular based on their innovative gameplay, and in some cases their agility to pivot to new trends. Microsoft decided to close Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks because it didn't fit into the strategy. From what he's been told, it was sadly only for its geographical location in Japan, making inter-studio collaboration difficult. In any case, as player habits have evolved in recent years, the industry has undergone something of a transition, and reducing costs is a big part of it. So, you know, again, they're going to do whatever they can to sort of reduce costs to make games. I think it was crazy that, you know, costs have gone up so far anyway, right? For considering you're not really seeing a ton of what I would consider to be games that look that much better or play that much better than last gen games. Like, I think you'd be really kind of, to me anyway, like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. It's like I've been largely disappointed with games this generation across the board. I know, like, people, fanboys of PlayStation 5 or whatever, will probably go, no, there's been so many, but honestly, there hasn't really been that many. You know, there's just, we're kind of stuck in this kind of weird world where we're not getting the games that we used to get, and that's really kind of sad to me, you know, after everything that's kind of happened. So, you know, again, we'll see how this kind of works out. You know, it could be a very interesting situation going forward. Just this week, obviously, Destiny developer Bungie announced a large bunch of layoffs again to reflect the difficult times being faced by larger AAA teams. Destiny 2 is a hugely popular game, but it's also astronomically expensive to run and develop for. Comparative titles like World of Warcraft have a subscription fee, while others might have aggressive or even predatory in-app monetizations to keep cash flow positive. Overall, playtime hours have decreased according to most analysis on top, forcing expected service games to kind of rethink their approach. AA games refer to titles by smaller teams with lower budgets compared to AAA titles. This new King Studio is specifically geared up for agility, eschewing some of the bureaucratic bloat that can occur in bigger teams. So yeah, we do have that to kind of look at what can also happen. you know, again, this happens all the time. Microsoft has also repositioned some of its existing studios around this thought process, with Halo developer 343 also taking on a more streamlined single-team organizational style, ditching its multi-team format of yesteryear, which is often cited as having communication issues. And The Verge also noted that recently Xbox has now moved into one departmental building at Redmond headquarters, specifically to improve communication and collaboration. So we'll see if any of this stuff works. I think a big thing that Microsoft needs to do also is just, you know, worry about making great games and stop checking boxes. I know I say that a lot, but it's like, stop checking boxes on, you know, hey, did we include this? You know, let's make this character extra ugly or whatever, you know, like, really, just stop that nonsense. You know, make great games and don't worry about the other stuff, because if you make great games, people don't care what people are in the game, right? But if you make a game specifically because it has, you know, a certain gender or race or whatever, then, you know, people are gonna react poorly to that. But if you make a great game, people don't care. You know, it's like the same thing with like movies and television shows. It's like, you know, you come out with something great, they don't care, you know. But if your first thing that you're going to announce is, hey, we're going to have this diversity, you know, blah blah blah, then I think at that point people are like, you know, they don't like that, you know, forced kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I kind of fall into that category, you know. Like, if something was some certain way already, leave it that way. You know, you don't have to like change everything. Like, I think a big instance of that didn't help was, if you look at what happened to Halo and the Halo fall off, it was when they tried to force a bunch of characters that people didn't want to play as, right? They're like, hey, we've got all these women characters and all these other characters, it's great for Halo, and then people wanted to play as Chief. You know, it's the same thing with Gears of War. You know, Gears of War kind of started to fail because, you know, they went away from like the dude bro kind of thing. You know, hey, here's Kat or Kate, whatever. You know, people didn't want that. So I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.